All right, let's dive in. Today we're taking a deep dive into CoQ10 and fertility.
Fertility. Interesting.
Yeah, we've got a bunch of articles from fertility clinics, health websites, the usual suspects.
Okay.
Oh, and a Canadian government page, just to keep things official.
Oh, nice. The official word.
So if you're like me, you've probably seen CoQ10 popping up everywhere in the fertility world, right?
Yeah, it's everywhere these days.
Like, is it the new miracle supplement or what? That's what we're going to find out.
Yeah, let's break it down. We'll look at the science behind CoQ10, the potential benefits, and of course, those important things to consider before you, jump on the bandwagon.
Exactly. Got to be informed, right?
Yeah, okay.
Okay, so first things first, what exactly is CoQ10?
So CoQ10, or coenzyme Q10, if you want to be fancy, it's this naturally occurring enzyme.
Ugh.
And it's found in, every single cell of your body.
Wow, every cell.
Yeah, pretty important, right?
That's a lot of CoQ10. But why is it so important for, fertility specifically?
Well, think about it this way. Sperm and egg cells, they're little energy hogs.
Okay, they need a lot of fuel.
Yeah, tons. All that dividing and growing takes serious energy, and guess what? They're packed with CoQ10.
So it's like their energy drink.
Pretty much. It's their secret weapon for all that cellular hustle. But here's the catch. CoQ10 levels, they naturally decline as we age.
So that's why we're hearing so much about it in the fertility world.
Bingo. As those CoQ10 levels dip, it's thought to impact both egg and sperm quality.
Makes sense. So less CoQ10, lower quality.
Potentially, yeah. And there's actually a study in the Journal of Reproductive Biomedicine online, and they found that women over 35 who took CoQ10 for at least 2 months
Okay, 2 months. Got it.
saw their fertilization rates jump by almost 10%.
Whoa, 10%. That's a big jump.
Yeah, it's not nothing.
Definitely not. Okay, let's dig into this. One thing I keep seeing is CoQ10 and egg quality. What's the connection there?
It's pretty cool, actually. CoQ10 acts like a bodyguard for your eggs.
Bodyguard. Love it. Protecting them from what?
From something called oxidative stress. Think of it like rust building up in your cells.
Uh-oh, not good.
Definitely not what you want for your eggs.
And what causes this cellular rust, as you call it?
Those pesky free radicals we hear so much about?
Oh, right. Free radicals, the bad guys.
Exactly. They're these unstable molecules that can actually damage DNA, even lead to cell death. And yeah, you definitely don't want that happening to your eggs.
No kidding. So CoQ10 swoops in and saves the day.
Precisely. CoQ10 is a potent antioxidant, meaning it neutralizes those free radicals before they can do too much damage. Like, imagine a Pac-Man gobbling up all those little ghosts.
Okay, that's a great visual.
Right. And it's not just theory. Studies show that after taking CoQ10 supplements for 60 days or more, women had better egg health and higher fertilization rates.
So it's good for the eggs and helps them get fertilized.
Yeah, pretty impressive.
Definitely. Okay, so if you're worried about, age-related egg quality decline, this is good news.
Absolutely.
Now, what about male infertility? I've heard CoQ10 mentioned there too.
It's making waves there as well. Turns out those free radicals we talked about, they can mess with sperm quality too. And get this. Studies show that something like 30% to 80% of men have high levels of free radicals in their semen.
Wow, that's a lot.
Right. And that impacts the sperm's ability to fertilize.
So where does CoQ10 come in?
Well, one study gave men CoQ10 supplements for a while, and they saw big improvements.
Improvements in what?
Sperm concentration, so basically the number of sperm,
Okay.
and motility, which is how well they swim towards the egg.
So CoQ10 is like a 2-for-1 deal for sperm.
Yeah, energy booster and free radical fighter.
Pretty cool. Now, I've also heard about CoQ10 and IVF. What's the connection there?
There's definitely growing interest in that area.
No.
Some studies show that women undergoing IVF who took CoQ10, they had a much better response to ovarian stimulation.
Okay, so what does that mean exactly?
It means they produced more eggs, which is a big deal, especially for someone with, a lower ovarian reserve.
More eggs, more chances.
Exactly. And there's even some research suggesting that CoQ10 might actually increase pregnancy rates in women undergoing IVF.
Wow, so potentially triple the benefits?
Yeah.
Better egg quality, improved sperm, and maybe even a boost for IVF success.
It's looking that way.
Amazing. Now, are there any other fertility factors CoQ10 might influence?
There's a lot of buzz around using CoQ10 with another supplement called L-carnitine.
L-carnitine, okay. And why is that?
Well, remember how we said CoQ10 is all about that cellular energy?
Yeah, the energy booster.
Right. L-carnitine is in the same business. It helps transport fatty acids into the mitochondria, which is like the powerhouse of the cell.
Okay, so they're both energy powerhouses. Do they, like, work together?
That's the idea. Some early research suggests this combo could be especially good for male fertility.
So, like, a 1-2 punch for those sperm?
You got it. It's still early days, but definitely something to watch.
Wow, CoQ10 is turning out to be quite the multitasker in the fertility world.
It really is. It's not just about energy production anymore. It's like a fertility superhero or something.
Right. And there's even some early research suggesting it might be beneficial for women with PCOS.
PCOS.
Okay, yeah, polycystic ovary syndrome.
Interesting. How so?
Well, it's based on this finding that vitamin D and calcium, along with metformin, can help regulate periods and ovulation in women with PCOS.
I see.
And since CoQ10 is also involved in those cellular processes, researchers are, exploring its potential there too. But of course, more research is needed.
Right. Always more research.
All right.
But it's exciting to see all these potential benefits.
Definitely.
Okay, before we get too carried away, it's important to remember, supplements aren't magic bullets.
Totally agree. You absolutely have to talk to your doctor before starting any new supplement, including CoQ10.
Makes sense. Not all supplements are right for everyone.
Right, your doctor can assess your individual needs, look at your medical history, any meds you're taking, the whole picture.
Exactly. Personalized advice is key.
Absolutely. And while we're on the topic of essential nutrients, can't forget about two superstars. Oh, right. Which ones?
Folic acid and vitamin D, especially for women who are, trying to conceive or are already pregnant.
They're like the OG fertility nutrients.
For sure. So let's start with folic acid. Why is it so important? Well, it's a B vitamin, and it plays this crucial role in developing a baby's neural tube.
Okay, the neural tube, what's that?
It eventually becomes the brain and spinal cord.
Oh, wow, that's important.
Huge. And taking enough folic acid before and during early pregnancy dramatically reduces the risk of neural tube defects.
Neural tube defects, those are serious, right?
Yeah, they're birth defects. But the good news is folic acid can really make a difference. It's such a simple thing, but the impact is massive.
That's why, in Canada at least, the government recommends that all women who could become pregnant take a daily multivitamin with at least 0.4 milligrams of folic acid.
Exactly. They're not messing around. It's a simple step, but so important for a developing baby.
Okay, folic acid, got it. Now, what about vitamin D? What's its role in all of this?
Vitamin D is another essential nutrient. It's all about regulating those hormones.
Hormones, firmly.
You're running the show. And balanced hormones are key for fertility.
So messed up hormones, messed up fertility.
Pretty much.
Got it.
Yeah.
But how does vitamin D actually help?
Well, studies show that vitamin D is linked to better fertility outcomes, especially for women doing IVF.
IVF.
But even if you're not doing IVF, having enough vitamin D is really important for overall reproductive health.
So CoQ10 for energy and antioxidants, folic acid to prevent those neural tube defects, and vitamin D to keep those hormones happy. Sounds like a good plan.
It's a good foundation. But before we move on, maybe we should take a quick break.
Sounds good. Back in a few. Okay, we're back and ready to keep exploring those key nutrients for fertility. Let's talk about prenatal vitamins. I always thought those were for after you get pregnant.
Yeah, a lot of people think that.
But I keep hearing about taking them before even trying to conceive.
It's interesting, right? We used to think of prenatal vitamins as purely for, once you're already pregnant.
Right.
But now there's this growing understanding that they can be super beneficial even before conception.
Okay, so it's like prepping your body for pregnancy even before you see those 2 lines on the test.
Exactly. Like building a strong foundation for a house. You want to make sure the ground is solid before you start building, right?
Makes sense. But let's be real, it's hard to get all the nutrients we need just from food, even with the best intentions.
Oh, absolutely. And when you're trying to conceive, it's like the pressure's on to make sure you're getting enough of everything.
Totally. So prenatal vitamins can help fill those gaps, especially if you're not getting everything you need from your diet.
For sure.
Okay, so assuming we're on board with prenatals even before pregnancy, what are the must-have nutrients we should be looking for?
Well, we've already talked about folic acid, so that's a non-negotiable.
Right, 0.4 milligram daily for all women who could become pregnant.
Exactly. That's the golden rule. But another key player is iron.
Iron, okay. Why is that one so important?
It's essential for making those healthy red blood cells.
Okay.
And during pregnancy, your blood volume increases a lot.
Right. Got to support that growing baby.
Yeah, your body's working overtime, so having enough iron is super important.
And iron deficiency is already pretty common, so it's probably even more important to pay attention to when you're trying to conceive.
Exactly. And then we've got those amazing omega-3 fatty acids, specifically DHA. It's like brain food for babies.
Brain food, I like it.
Yeah, it plays a huge role in their brain development. Many prenatal vitamins include DHA now, but it's always good to double check the label.
Good point. So we've got folic acid, iron, omega-3s. Anything else?
Those are the big ones, but other important nutrients in prenatals include things like calcium, vitamin D, and iodine.
Okay, break those down for me. What do they all do?
So calcium, it's all about building strong bones, right? Vitamin D helps your body actually absorb that calcium. And iodine is crucial for thyroid hormone production, which is also super important for a baby's growth and development.
Wow. So much going on in those little pills.
Right. They really are like a powerhouse of essential nutrients, supporting both mom and baby.
It's amazing. So it sounds like adding a prenatal vitamin to your routine is a smart move even before you're officially pregnant.
Absolutely.
But there are so many different brands and types out there. Is there a best one?
Honestly, the best thing to do is talk to your doctor.
Makes sense.
They can look at your specific needs, any other meds you might be taking, and make sure it's a good fit for you.
Right. Personalized advice is key.
Always. Not all prenatal vitamins are created equal.
Okay, good to know. And speaking of personalized advice, we talked earlier about talking to your doctor before starting any new supplement.
Oh, yeah, that's super important.
It's easy to get caught up in all the potential benefits, but we got to make sure whatever we're taking is actually safe.
Absolutely. What works for one person might not work for another. And there could be interactions with, other meds you're taking or underlying health conditions.
Right. Your doctor can help you navigate all of that.
Exactly. They can help you figure out the right dosage, too, because, more isn't always better.
Right. Too much of a good thing can backfire.
For sure. It's all about finding that sweet spot. So talk to your doctor, do your research, be proactive.
Love that. Okay, so we've covered those essential nutrients, CoQ10, folic acid, vitamin D, and prenatal vitamins. But now I'm curious about those antioxidants we keep mentioning.
Antioxidants, yeah, they're pretty amazing.
How do they fit into the fertility puzzle?
Well, think of antioxidants as these little warriors in your body fighting off those harmful free radicals we've been talking about.
Right, the cellular troublemakers.
Exactly. And free radicals, they're actually a natural byproduct of metabolism.
Metabolism.
Yeah, the process of your body converting food into energy.
So they're like a side effect of just living and breathing.
Yeah, kind of, yeah. But things like pollution, smoking, even stress can increase free radical production.
Oh, no. So we can't completely avoid them. Is that where antioxidants come in?
You got it. Antioxidants help neutralize those free radicals, preventing them from damaging our cells.
Okay.
And this is where it gets really relevant to fertility because those free radicals, they can also damage sperm and egg cells.
Ah, so antioxidants are like little bodyguards for our reproductive cells.
Exactly. Now, we've already talked about CoQ10 and its antioxidant powers.
Right.
But there are other important antioxidants that play a role in fertility, like vitamin C.
Vitamin C, like in oranges and stuff.
Yeah, it's a powerful antioxidant, and it's thought to be really good for protecting sperm from DNA damage.
So eating those oranges and strawberries is a good move.
It definitely can't hurt. Then there's vitamin E.
Okay, vitamin E, what's that one good for?
It's another important antioxidant found in nuts, seeds, leafy greens, and this one is thought to protect those precious egg cells from damage.
So a diet with lots of fruits, veggies, nuts, and seeds is looking pretty good for fertility.
So it's a great foundation. And then there's one more antioxidant that's been getting a lot of attention lately, glutathione.
Glutathione, that's a new one for me.
It's a potent antioxidant that's actually produced by our bodies.
Wow, we make our own antioxidants. That's pretty cool.
Right. It plays a key role in detoxifying the body and protecting our cells from damage. But here's the interesting part. Studies show that people with fertility issues tend to have lower levels of glutathione.
Interesting. So boosting those levels could potentially help.
That's what researchers are looking into. There are certain foods that are thought to boost glutathione production.
Like what? Give me the shopping list.
Things like broccoli, avocados, spinach.
Okay, so more reasons to eat those greens. Are there any supplements that can help with glutathione?
Yeah, there are supplements that contain glutathione precursors.
Precursors, okay.
Basically, those are substances that your body uses to actually make glutathione. It's like giving your body the building blocks for its own antioxidant army.
I love that. So we've got CoQ10, vitamin C, vitamin E, and glutathione. That's quite the team.
It's a powerhouse lineup.
Okay, I have to ask, with all this talk about antioxidants being so beneficial, is it possible to have too much?
That's a great question. While antioxidants are generally good, balance is key.
Right, too much of anything can be a bad thing.
Exactly. And there are actually tests that can measure your antioxidant levels.
Really? So
So,
you can see if you're getting enough.
yep, you can talk to your doctor about getting tested.
Interesting. Okay, so we've covered antioxidants. What's next on our fertility journey?
We've talked about individual nutrients, but I think it's time to zoom out and look at the big picture of nutrition.
Okay, the big picture. I like that.
It's not just about specific vitamins and minerals, it's about the overall quality of your diet.
Right, the whole package.
Yeah.
So what's the big picture when it comes to nutrition and fertility?
Well, there's a growing research showing that certain dietary patterns are linked to better fertility outcomes. It's not just what you eat, it's how you eat.
Interesting. So what kind of dietary patterns are we talking about?
One that's been getting a lot of attention is the Mediterranean diet.
Oh, the Mediterranean diet. I've heard of that. Isn't that supposed to be good for your heart?
It is lots of fresh produce, healthy fats, lean protein, but it turns out it might be good for your reproductive system too.
Really? How so?
Studies have shown that women who follow a Mediterranean diet are more likely to conceive, both naturally and through IVF.
Wow, so just eating that way could potentially boost your chances.
It's definitely worth considering. And there's another diet linked to improved fertility, a low glycemic index diet.
Low GI. Okay. Remind me what that is again.
The glycemic index ranks carbs based on how quickly they raise your blood sugar. A low GI diet focuses on foods that release sugar slowly, so you don't get those big spikes and crashes.
Ah, right. Steady blood sugar. But how does that relate to fertility?
Well, hormonal imbalances can mess with ovulation and implantation, so a low GI diet can help create a more balanced hormonal environment.
So it's not about cutting out carbs completely, but being smart about the types of carbs we're choosing.
Exactly. Like, instead of white bread, choose whole wheat. Instead of white rice, go for brown rice. Simple swaps.
Okay, I can do that. What are some other examples of good low GI foods?
Things like whole grains, legumes, veggies, fruits, they're digested more slowly, so you get steady energy without those blood sugar swings. There's actually research showing that women with PCOS, who often have insulin resistance, are more likely to ovulate regularly when they follow a low GI diet.
Wow, that's pretty compelling. Okay, so we've got the Mediterranean diet and the low GI diet. Any other dietary all-stars for fertility?
There's also a lot of buzz around the role of the gut microbiome.
The gut microbiome, right. That's all the bacteria living in our intestines.
Exactly, trillions of them. And they actually play a huge role in our health, including reproductive health.
Really? I knew they were important, but that important.
Oh, yeah. Studies have shown that the types of bacteria in your gut can influence hormone levels, inflammation, even egg quality.
Wow, those little guys are powerful. So how do we keep them happy? What do they like to eat?
Fiber. They love fiber. Fruits, vegetables, legumes, whole grains.
Wait, those are all the foods we've been talking about, so they're good for us and our gut bacteria.
Exactly. They provide prebiotics, which are basically food for the good bacteria, and then there are foods that contain probiotics.
Oh, right, probiotics, like yogurt and stuff.
Yep, yogurt, kefir, sauerkraut, kimchi.
Okay, so fermented foods are good for the gut too.
They can really boost the diversity of your gut bacteria.
It's amazing how everything is connected. Diet, gut microbiome, hormones.
Yeah.
It's all one big system.
It really is. And we're just scratching the surface of understanding how it all works together.
Okay, so we've covered a lot. From individual nutrients to those bigger dietary patterns, and even the gut microbiome. It's clear that nutrition is a big deal for fertility.
Absolutely. What we eat literally becomes, the building blocks of life.
That's a great way to put it. So, by making smart choices about our diet, we can set the stage for a healthy pregnancy.
Exactly.
Now, before we move on, I want to touch on something that's come up a lot today. Personalized care.
Oh, yeah, that's crucial.
It's easy to get caught up in the latest trends and research, but everyone's body is different.
So true. There's no one-size-fits-all approach to fertility.
Exactly. That's why working with a healthcare provider who understands your needs is so important.
Couldn't agree more. They can help you navigate all the information out there and make choices that are right for you.
Whether it's dietary changes, lifestyle tweaks, or supplements, there are so many paths to explore.
For sure. It's about finding what feels empowering and supportive for you.
Absolutely. So don't be afraid to ask questions, advocate for yourself, and find the care that feels right. Your fertility journey is unique.
It is.
Okay, we're in the home stretch now. What's the last piece of the puzzle?
Well, we've talked about, nutrition, supplements, personalized care. But we can't forget about lifestyle.
Lifestyle. That's a big one. What exactly do we mean by lifestyle in the context of fertility?
It's basically all the choices we make in our daily lives that impact our health.
Okay.
Sleep, exercise, stress management, all that good stuff. And it turns out those lifestyle factors can have a big impact on fertility.
Interesting. I've heard a lot about sleep, but how does it specifically affect fertility?
Sleep is when our bodies repair and rejuvenate themselves.
Right. Recharge time?
Exactly. It's essential for hormones, immune function, all that. Not getting enough sleep can throw things off balance. And when it comes to fertility, studies show that both too little and too much sleep can be bad.
Really? So there's a sweet spot for sleep when it comes to fertility.
Seems that way. Most research suggests that aiming for 7 to 8 hours of good sleep is best for reproductive health.
Okay, so not too little, not too much, just right. But it's not just about how much you sleep, right? The quality matters too.
Absolutely. It's about creating a relaxing bedtime routine, making sure your bedroom is dark, quiet, cool, and of course, avoiding screens before bed.
All the things that say time to sleep.
Exactly. And if you're having trouble sleeping, talk to your doctor, try relaxation techniques, maybe even a sleep study.
Sleep is definitely something we often neglect, but it sounds like it's worth prioritizing. What about exercise? Exercise is another big one, but like sleep, it's about finding that balance.
Not too little, not too much.
Yep. Most experts recommend at least 30 minutes of moderate intensity exercise most days of the week.
Okay, what counts as moderate intensity?
Think brisk walking, swimming, dancing, cycling. You're working hard enough to sweat, but can still hold a conversation.
Got it. So if you're not used to exercising, start slow and gradually increase.
Exactly. No need to go all out right away. Find a routine you enjoy and that fits into your life.
So how does exercise actually benefit fertility?
Regular exercise helps regulate hormones, improve insulin sensitivity, and reduce stress.
Wow, it's like a triple threat. And all those things are good for reproductive health. It's amazing how interconnected all this stuff is. Sleep, exercise, stress, it all affects hormones. It really does. Everything's linked. And exercise is a powerful tool for creating a healthy environment for fertility.
Okay, we've talked about sleep and exercise, but what about stress? We've mentioned it a few times, how it can impact hormones, but I'd love to know more about how it actually interferes with fertility.
Stress is normal, but when it's chronic, it can really mess with our health, including our reproductive health.
Right.
When we're stressed, our bodies release cortisol, the fight or flight hormone.
Cortisol, yeah, I've heard of that.
It's helpful in short bursts, but when it's constantly high, it can disrupt the balance of hormones needed for fertility.
So basically, stress can throw our hormones out of whack, which can then mess with our cycles, ovulation, and make it harder to conceive.
Exactly. That's why managing stress is so important.
Okay, so how do we manage stress, especially when trying to conceive?
Well, exercise is a great stress reliever, as we talked about.
Right.
But there's also yoga, meditation, spending time in nature, even just taking a few deep breaths when you're feeling overwhelmed.
It's about finding those things that help you relax and feel grounded.
Exactly. And it's about making time for self-care.
Right. It's easy to neglect that when you're stressed.
It is, but it's so important. When you're burnt out, it's hard to focus on anything else, let alone fertility. So take care of yourself, nurture your body and mind, and don't be afraid to ask for help.
There are therapists, support groups, online communities.
Exactly. You don't have to go through this alone.
Okay, so we've covered sleep, exercise, and stress management. Any other lifestyle factors that are important for those trying to conceive?
One more big one. Exposure to toxins.
Toxins. Okay, now that sounds scary. What kind of toxins are we talking about?
Things like pesticides, herbicides, heavy metals, BPA, phthalates.
Those are all chemicals found in everyday products, right?
Unfortunately, yes. They're in our food, water, personal care products, even the air we breathe.
Yikes. That's a lot. So how do we avoid them?
It can be tough to avoid them completely, but there are things we can do to minimize our exposure.
Give me some tips. What can we do?
Choosing organic produce is a great start. It reduces exposure to those pesticides and herbicides.
Okay, organic produce, got it. What else?
Filtering your water can help remove heavy metals and other contaminants. And being mindful of the personal care products you use is important too.
What should we look for or avoid in those products?
Look for things that are free of parabens, phthalates, artificial fragrances. Those chemicals can disrupt hormones and potentially impact fertility.
So read those labels carefully.
Yes. It's amazing how many toxins we're exposed to, but even small changes can make a difference.
It's all about being informed and making conscious choices. Okay, so we've got sleep, exercise, stress management, and minimizing those toxins. Feels like we've covered a lot.
We have, and it's clear that these lifestyle choices are super important for fertility, just as important as nutrition and supplements.
It's all about creating a healthy and balanced lifestyle.
Exactly.
Okay, we're nearing the end of our deep dive. Anything else we need to cover?
You know, we've talked about a lot of different factors that can impact fertility,
Yeah, it's complex.
but there's still so much we don't know. Fertility is this complex process, and even with all the research, there's still some mystery surrounding it.
That's true. And sometimes there's no easy answer for why someone is struggling to conceive.
Unfortunately, yeah. And that can be really tough to deal with emotionally.
Absolutely. It's okay to feel all the feels and to seek support when you need it.
Couldn't agree more. There are therapists, support groups, online communities.
Right, those online communities can be amazing. It's so helpful to connect with others who understand what you're going through.
It's a powerful reminder that you're not alone. And there are things you can do for yourself, too, to manage those emotions.
Like what?
Things like mindfulness, journaling, spending time in nature, whatever brings you joy.
It's so easy to forget about self-care when you're going through something as challenging as fertility struggles.
It is, but it's so important. It's about finding those moments of peace.
We've talked a lot about personalized care today, and I think that applies to emotional support as well. What works for one person might not work for another.
Absolutely. It's about finding what feels right for you. Some people love therapy, others connect more with support groups. There's no one right way to handle it.
And sometimes, even with all the support in the world, it can still feel overwhelming. It's okay to ask for help.
For sure. There's no shame in reaching out to a therapist who specializes in fertility challenges. They can offer guidance, coping strategies, and a safe space to process all those emotions.
Absolutely. So as we wrap up our deep dive, I want to leave our listeners with a few final thoughts. We've covered so much ground, from the tiny details of our cells to those bigger lifestyle choices.
We've talked about nutrition, supplements, the importance of personalized care.
But maybe the most important takeaway is this: knowledge is power. The more you understand about your body and fertility, the more empowered you are to make the best choices for you.
That's so true. Knowledge can help ease some of that fear and uncertainty. It can give you a sense of control.
Exactly. So keep learning, stay curious, and don't be afraid to ask questions.
And remember, you are not alone. There's a whole community out there supporting you every step of the way.
May your journey be filled with hope, strength, and of course, the miracle of life.
Beautifully said.
Thanks for joining us for this deep dive. Until next time, take care.
Take care.
Wow, we've covered so much in this deep dive, from tiny cells and antioxidants to like the food we eat and how we live our lives. It's really amazing how everything is connected when it comes to fertility,
It really is, yeah. There are so many factors at play.
It's a lot.
It is. And, while we focused a lot on the, physical aspects of fertility,
Right.
there's another really important piece we need to talk about.
Oh, totally. The emotional side of things.
Exactly. Fertility challenges can be, well, they can be emotionally draining. It's so important to acknowledge that.
Absolutely. It's such a roller coaster. The ups and downs, the hope, the disappointment. It's a lot to handle.
It really is. And it's crucial to have a good support system in place. People you can talk to who get it.
Yeah, people have been there. Whether it's your partner, friends, family, a therapist, a support group, having those people to lean on can make a huge difference.
Absolutely. And there's some great online communities, too, dedicated to supporting people going through fertility challenges.
Yeah, those online communities can be amazing. Like, just knowing you're not alone could be so helpful.
Right. That sense of community is so important.
It is. And beyond connecting with others, there are things you can do for yourself to take care of your emotional well-being during this time.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Like what kind of things?
Things like mindfulness practices, journaling, getting out in nature, anything that brings you joy, really.
Self-care. It's so easy to forget about that when you're going through something so tough.
It is, but it's more important than ever during those times. It's about finding those moments of peace amidst, all the chaos.
I love that. Moments of peace.
Yeah.
And we've talked a lot about personalized care today. And I think that's true for emotional support, too. What works for one person might not work for another.
Exactly. It's about finding what feels right for you. Maybe therapy is your thing. Maybe it's a support group. Maybe it's both. There's no right or wrong way to handle it.
It's your journey.
Yeah.
And sometimes, even with all the support in the world, it can still feel overwhelming. It's okay to ask for help.
Absolutely. There's no shame in that. Talking to a therapist who specializes in fertility challenges can be incredibly helpful.
They can offer guidance, coping strategies, a safe space to process all those feelings.
Exactly.
So as we wrap up our deep dive into the world of fertility,
Mm.
I want to leave our listeners with a few final thoughts. We've covered a lot today: the science of conception, nutrition, lifestyle choices, emotional well-being.
It's a lot to take in.
It is. But perhaps the most important takeaway from all of this is knowledge is power. The more you understand about your body and how fertility works, the more empowered you are to make informed decisions.
I love that. Knowledge is power. It can help take away some of the fear and uncertainty and give you back a sense of control.
Exactly. So keep learning, stay curious, ask questions, and advocate for yourself.
And remember, you are not alone on this journey. There's a whole community out there rooting for you.
May your path be filled with hope, strength, and of course, the miracle of life. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.